very often why I talk about the embryo so often, or why I say you are your embryo. And I think the best way for me to describe that to you is to tell you a little story about this sweet, sweet young boy who was 2.5 years old, who came to see me because his mom was pretty worried about him. He wasn't being accepted into the nursery school that he wanted to go to. He wasn't making eye contact with children. He just really wasn't present. And he had an occupational therapist that was quite concerned that perhaps he was autistic, or there was something that was happening with him that wasn't allowing him to be fully in his life. So when he walked into my office and I said hello, I said, "Would you like to work with me today?" And he said, "No." And I asked him many, many questions about how I could kind of navigate him onto my table. And basically, there was no, 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 no. He just did not really want to engage. So I invited his mom to get on the table, and I asked him if he wanted me to could he be my doctor's assistant? And he got very excited. And he jumped into my arms practically and said, "What can I do?" And I said, "Well, we can make a mommy sandwich. If you would lay on top of your mommy, and I put one hand underneath your mommy and one hand on your back, then we can really, really help your mom." So he did exactly that. He jumped up on the table, he got on his mom, he wrapped his arms around her, and he put his head to one side. And I sat, and I waited, and I listened. And within about 30 seconds, his back started to kind of writhe and move and unwind, and he shook a little bit, and his legs his whole body started to release what seemed to be muscular tension, tension in the fascia, calmed down his heart. His fluid started to move. It's like the ocean opened up and we went into a really low tide. It was long, soft, and gentle. And after about 15 minutes, he stopped moving. He took a deep breath. He lifted his head up and he looked into his mother's eyes. And they stared at each other. And his mom started to cry. This was the bonding that never happened for him when he was born, because he had a seizure disorder. So he was taken from his mother immediately, and they tried to figure out what the problem was. At birth, many of us experience things that can really stop us from walking into our life later because we're frightened, or because we hold, or we clamp down. So our embryo doesn't grow exactly the way it's meant to grow. We just have different things that stop us. But we can change that. And we don't only change it at 2.5. This little boy actually came to see me 4 times, and on the 4th time, he asked me, "Can you work on me now? Just me?" And I worked with him for about 10 minutes, and he told me when he was done, we know what we need. Children certainly know. If you give them the space and the time, and you don't make them do something, you invite them to lead the way. Because as an adult or as a child, the treatment plan will unfold itself if it's given time. But it will be the right plan. It will be your plan. It will be an inherent plan of what health means in your own body. So we can do that at 2.5, and we can do that as an adult. We can do it every moment of every day, especially when we learn a few gentle, simple skills of no agenda, of deep listening, and of quiet.